Bless you. Do you have any, you need to sneeze anymore
No, I'm
before
good. I'm
we,
good. That was a good one. That was a good let go. You know what I mean? Good let go.
are you a one sneeze guy or,
Yeah.
oh
One
man.
sneezer. I mean, it's very rare. My wife is a three sneezer. My daughter's like a five sneezer.
Yeah, I'm like a five
Jake.
sneezer.
Yeah, but you're like full of snot. You're like a sneeze, like all kinds of noises. I knew this for 4 straight years of living with you. Um, told
My
me what
son,
kind of sneezer you are.
my son has followed suit.
Yeah, that's good. Good for you guys. Good
Yeah.
for you guys. We're not here to talk about sneezes though.
No.
We are here to talk about Matt Madsen coming tomorrow. So tomorrow we have asked a past guest, a good buddy of ours, Matt Madsen, to he's been an entrepreneur, for his whole life, and he's run this business. He's run a couple of businesses, but he's been doing it for 20 plus years. The entire time we were in the military, he's running businesses, right? And we went on a hike, and he gave us some language that was really transformative for us. Um, and we brought that back and made implemented some changes in the business. And recently, we were kind of we there. I think there's a lot of things that we do well as military, former military guys. The three of us, me, you, and Steven. I think there's elements of discipline. I think we all are we have decision making processes that have been tested over 20 years of military service for I mean combined almost 60 years of military service. There are things that organizationally each of us do differently, um, and there's a lot of things that we do that I think are good. But we came together, and again, like to be very specific, we went through Business Made Simple to kind of get some of the higher level things sorted out. Whether it's mission statements or themes and these different aspects of the business and drivers, right? Driving documents, living driving documents for the business. We also went through, we're big believers in, traction, and so we have our L10 meetings, and we have things organized, and I think we do a good job in some of these areas. I think where we're realizing we need somebody to come in is that we there are some problems we have in the business. A lot of it has to do with just experience, I think, and running a business and things that we've not. I would not say that you and I are highly proficient small business owners from a systems, from a process, from all the different things that are also required to do that. And so we wanted to bring somebody in, recognizing first off, it's kind of humbling, right? Like I said, we're military guys. We make decisions. We do these things. We figure it out. Especially as Navy guys, you put to sea and you figure it out, right? Well, that's not always the best way to do it. You can bring people in. You can have somebody come in and kind of assess and give them an inside view of the entire process, the business, everything you do, and there's some goodness in that, right? If you want to be better, there's a lot of goodness in that. And I think that's where we're at right now. I'm super excited. Tomorrow's that day. This is the pre Matt Madsen meeting, conversation, real talk that you and I are having. And I'm super excited about what comes, when we record Friday after we have a couple of days of doing this. Steven's flying in from Philly. And we're very serious about this, right? We're very serious about having an outside source come in and be like, hey, dude, like this is challenge us. Let's have some hard conversations and where are we not doing well? Where are we doing well? Where do we need to lean in? What do we need to do to make this thing better? So that's where we're at today, in anticipation for tomorrow and having this meeting with Matt Madsen.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited about it. Kind of you alluded to some thoughts I had as well too. I think a lot of people say that like military veterans make really good business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, because of the fact that you alluded to that, we just figure it out, right? And a lot of times, at least in the Navy, we would change duty stations, we would change jobs, we would get put into a new responsibility, new area of work that we might not know the most about, and our leadership skills, come into play, and we just figure it out, right? We know how to lead people, we know how to learn and understand and try and fail and reevaluate and attack it again. And there's a lot of ways to be successful in that, but I do think it's really important to understand when to get help, right? And that isn't only in business. That could be in a lot of different areas of our life. And we've talked about that on another Real Talk episode of getting coaches. And that's essentially what we're doing. We're getting a business coach. Like we're getting someone who's been running businesses for a long time and is super knowledgeable and has had a lot of success in that to come in and consult, and help us get to the next level because we could figure it out. We can figure it out. It might take us another 5 to 10 years, but bringing somebody in as a consultant, as a coach to help speed up that process, and similar to like a mastermind group, like you're gonna reduce that time that it's gonna take to figure it out. And so I'm really excited about that, and I know that you had a kind of a pre-meeting with him to kind of go over some stuff. And I know that he asked you just a few questions that you didn't have the answer to. I didn't have the answer to. I don't know if Steven has the answer to it, but we plan on having the answer to that at the end of our meeting. So interesting thought process that we've never gone through.
Yeah. And so, and I wrote three things down as kind of, you know, priming the pump for this episode. And really at the top, I said, okay, what are we trying to solve? What are we trying to solve? And then the three thoughts that came to mind, one is an admission. So ultimately, our experience isn't necessarily in running a small business, but just admitting that, like, that's okay. That there's no hit to that. There's no, just because you have had a extensive and potentially successful, career in something else does not necessarily mean it directly translates. It doesn't mean that you should just be like, I'm not, I have no ability here. No, like there's a lot of things that translate, and you just have to be self-aware and realize where those things are, and what are the things you bring to the table, what are the things you just have no idea. Like you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. That's a great place to be, right? That's a great place to be, to open yourself to coaching and ultimately to be better. The second thought, so the first was admission, the second was we desire an outside perspective. And for me specifically, there's two elements to that. I want an outside perspective of a trusted advisor and a respected advisor. Those two things are critical, right? Like I want to trust you, and I want to know that the conversation is, whatever, it's confidential, but it's also very, very honest, and we're not going to pull any punches. And you're a trusted advisor. I trust you to be honest, and to show grace and to have humility, but also like, hey, we bring you here for a reason. You're the smart guy, and we trust you. Okay. And then the second is a respected advisor. I want to be able not only to respect you as a man or a woman, whoever we're bringing in. I want to be able to respect you, but I also want to be able to I respect you as a human being. If you built a business that I don't appreciate, or a business that doesn't have core values that are in alignment with what I want to build, then like it's probably just not a good fit. And you can find that person, right? Whatever it is, you can find that person you respect and you want to emulate and be more like. And Matt represents both those things. And then third, uh, I think it's critical that you bring in somebody who challenges your thinking. And he asked two questions. He said, "Who's in charge of your sales, and who's in charge of getting this, to closing deals?" And then he said, "Who's in charge?" And I think that second question for all of us, and we didn't dive into it intentionally. We want him to be there to moderate and to help us to have that conversation. But that's an interesting question when you have a three person founding member, all military dudes, all relatively senior military guys, as the three founders, to ask that group of dudes that question, right? Because our bias implies something that his question doesn't necessarily imply. Like he's like, dude, I've been the CEO of my company before. It's a role. It kind of shifted, and they needed me to be the CEO at a certain time. But that's no that's no hit to anybody else, right? He's like, I don't feel like I'm better than or in charge of or whatever. And we're military guys, so we're very hierarchical, however you say that. You get my point. Uh, in our thinking. And so like us, it's like, well, if I'm in charge, then I'm probably like the CO. And then, there's implications to that. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. That's not how I see it. I'm like, cool. Like that's why I want to have you come in and have that conversation. So I think those three things are critical. And you should welcome somebody to come in and have that conversation. And you should be challenged. It should not be an easy conversation. You also don't want somebody to come in and be like, you guys are great. It's awesome. No, like come in and like, no kidding, have some thick skin and be like, dude, make us better. And what does that look like? Because ultimately, do you care or not care about, for us, do I truly care about the Connect Man being a truly powerful, empowering brand for men to help them to be better and to live their purpose in God? Is that a high enough calling? 100%. Yeah. So my feelings are put aside. Like let's get better at this.
Yeah, dude. That one question of who's in charge is it's still running around in there inside the brain of like, I don't know, because I've, we all have a bias. I think the military adds an additional bias of who's in charge means you're the commanding officer and you listen to me, right? And I give the orders, um, and from a leadership perspective. But I've never looked at like who's in charge as the CEO as a role, and that's a temporary role, not a permanent role. I've also in my brain, thought about our businesses that you and I have run before and still do in the real estate world. And I don't think either of us have ever asked the question or even thought about like who's in charge. We've always looked at everything as 50-50 partnerships. And we do what our roles, you're more of a high level thinker, visionary. I'm more of a integrator, task oriented operator. And so we kind of fill those roles based on our personalities, and that's worked out for us so far. But we've never had to really truly ask that question, like who's in charge, and look at it from a role perspective, responsibilities perspective, not so much from a leadership, commanding officer, military perspective. And so I'm excited about that conversation. I feel a little bit already challenged by it, just because of past biases, and so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, man. I think that there's a million directions we could go with this conversation as well, and I think we should wrap it there. And I'm really excited about recording part two, where we are able to share some of the lessons learned and some of the give insight into some of the challenging conversations that are inevitably going to be had, and the growth, right? The growth. I'm pumped, man. I can't wait to have Matt, and I love hanging time. I love spending time with Matt, right? I love hanging out with Matt. I mean, I think our coffee went. We didn't resolve anything. He didn't, he didn't want my, and I didn't want to give my inputs to do like almost like a pre Matt, a pre Matt Matson meeting. But I mean, we talked for 3 hours, and it was a completely uplifting conversation. It was challenging, and it was a great place to be. So I'm excited about tomorrow, dude. Looking forward to it.
For
So
sure.
really the takeaway is if you want to grow and scale at some point, I think whatever that means, right? If you want to grow and scale as a dad, as a husband, as a business owner, whatever that looks like for you, you have to surround yourself, right? You have to be willing to invest in yourself, and whether that's surrounding yourself by people that could speak into it and have been there, done that, and you humble yourself. And you're like, dude, I'm the dumbest guy in the room. Like that's a great place to be. The dumbest guy in the room is a great place to be because you're
That
just going to grow from
that
there.
happens for you quite often, right?
Often, yeah, because
Yeah.
my friends, well, it does. Usually, it's you're in a room by yourself because you have friends, so it's hard for you. But at the end of the day, it's are you challenging yourself to grow? Do you want to be better, right? And I think that is critical. And you should be willing to invest in yourself if it's important enough. If it's important enough, right? Like if it's important enough for you to lose weight, then it probably should be important enough to join a gym or to spend money on equipment, maybe to get somebody, a coach, a nutritionist, somebody to help you do these things, invest time. I'm listening to a 3 hour episode of Huberman right now on sugar, and I roll my eyes a little bit, but dude, I shouldn't roll my eyes because I'm already 2 hours deep and it seems like it just started. It's a fascinating, awesome episode. Huberman, he brings it. awesome
Yeah.
show. And this guy that he has on, he just drops knowledge, right? And I'm already like, oh man, I never thought of things that way. Like, and I'm already implementing changes. That's a time investment. That's 3 hours of time that I have to find to but is it important? It is. Okay. So educate yourself, invest in yourself, whatever that looks like. And then ultimately be clear on what you want from it. One of the questions we had to answer is, what do you expect from this meeting? We did it individually. I have no idea what you said. I have no idea what Steven said. You guys don't know what I said, but Matt has all that information. And so I'm even looking forward to that, right? The reveal of like, hey, what do you want from this? But at the end of the day, if it's important enough, you'll do something about it. You'll invest in yourself, you'll spend time, you'll do research. And I think if you want to, was it Greg Denning? If you want to turn, what does he say? Months into moments and, decades into days or whatever. Then you get somebody to come in and help you to do that. And it's
Yeah.
going to cost, and it should cost, because you just saved yourself potentially, as you said to start, 5-10 years. You potentially save yourself 5-10 years of, I'm going to figure it out, to, oh, this guy's figured it out. He just gave me the answers. Now I execute. And maybe maybe that timeline is significantly shorter. So love it, dude. Love it.
I'll spill the beans a little bit. One of the expectations out of tomorrow's meeting is for Matt to become my new best friend. Sorry, just saying.
You're most likely going to be disappointed,
Mm.
because I can speak firsthand. Ain't nobody want that job. Ain't nobody want that job.
You're such a kind, giving soul.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Love you.
Giddy up. See you. Love you too.